Semih, a man in Istanbul, meets Defne, a beautiful young woman who also lives in Istanbul, at a bar. He finds her attractive and kisses her without her consent. She doesn't like what he did and confronts him about it. Semih doesn't speak appropriately and she ends up leaving. But Nazim, Semih's friend, tells him that there is a gathering on Sunday at the studio and Defne will be there too. On their way to the studio, Sami tries to make an impression on Defne, who feels sorry for a man who sells cotton candy, by approaching him and buying the entire collection. Defne likes his gesture and they continue walking. At the studio, Defne congratulates him for his new job, but he doesn't feel too excited about it, since his mom pushed him to take the job. So, she asks him about his passion, and he takes her out to see the street art he made. He complains that he can't live off of the arts and his job is not funny. Then, she tells him to be grateful that he has a job. After enjoying the music for a while, Semih and Defne take a seat, and he asks if she has someone in her life. Define tells there is no one, but she also tells him she doesn't want one anyway. Next, Defne visits Semih at his home, after both of them attend a concert with their friends. They have a conversation on the balcony about the concert and Nazir. In the middle of their discussion, she wants him to kiss her, but he doesn't think she wants something serious to happen. Then, Defne tells him she just wants to be happy and kisses him. They interrupt their kiss and continue their conversation inside with a glass of wine. Defne is attracted to him, and she initiates an intimate act and they sleep together. Over the next few days, Semih and Defne's relationship grows, and after surprising her with her drawing on a building, Semih asks her to move in with him, mentioning his place is also closer to work, and she accepts. One night, while Semih is getting dressed, being hesitant about going to a dinner, a friend invites him. Defne tells him to be honest and cancel, but Semih doesn't want to disappoint his friend. Then, Semih impulsively takes off all his clothes and remains with underwear. He throws out the new cloth outside and asks her to join him. Defne takes her clothes off, and Semih comes running back to the house to make love with her. Later, they end up going to dinner, and Semih makes one of his unpredictable moves. He takes Defne on a bus ride, although he doesn't know where the bus is taking them. Then, they get off the bus and take a walk. They stay the night in a small hotel. In the middle of the night, Semih wakes up and goes to Defne, who is standing on the balcony. She tells him that she had a dark side in her, and now it is gone because of him. Semih was happy and he hugged her. After months together, Defne starts to get angry at Semih. He is careless about the way he gets by in the house while she is organized. But she got really mad at him one night when he forgot to bring her clothes from the dry cleaners. They went to the place together and it was already closed. Semih tries an attempt to get the phone, but Defne goes home disappointed. On another night, Defne and Semih are at a party and she catches him checking out one of the girls. She gets annoyed at him and tries to set him up with the girl, but he confronts her for her jealousy. Semih was just fooling around, but she thinks he finds her boring. Semih gets into another fight with his girlfriend when he misses the funeral of Defne's grandmother, who was nice to him. Defne gave him a call while he was at his office, but he intentionally missed it. He confides to his co-worker, Özge, about preferring not to attend funerals because he finds them discomforting. After the funeral, Defne had to go to a work conference, and Semih joined her on the flight. She tells him she is tired of his abnormal behavior and tells him that he doesn't care for her. He apologizes for not being at the funeral and lists his boss, Ceyda, as his reason. They arrive at the conference and rest in the hotel. When she was about to leave for work, she told him not to bother her with his calls or not to do anything embarrassing. After a while, Semih goes to the hotel bar and talks to a woman drinking alone. They bond with each other and depart after exchanging numbers. The next morning, while Semih is doing tattoos on Defne's arm, she asks him about the woman he met last night, and he tells her that she is just an old friend. But she reads the text from the woman and gets jealous. Then she ends up throwing him out of the hotel room. Later, the couple gets an offer from Defne's uncle to move to Germany, Hanover. They had to decide quickly as her uncle was getting impatient. Semih simply tells her that shifting to Germany didn't make sense to him, since he doesn't speak the language and doesn't want to leave Istanbul, but he allows her to go if she wants to. Defne is worried about her job, and the long-distance relationship won't work, so she decides to stay with her boyfriend. She calls her uncle and tells him they have talked about it, and decided now is not the best time for both of them. In the morning, Defne and Semih go to the ocean to look at the sunrise. Defne doubts her decision about their decision not to go to Hanover and asks Semi if they did the right thing. Semi tries to settle her insecurities and tells her he loves her, which makes her happy. He asks her about her happiness, and she tells him that there is a cloud looming over it, but she is hopeful that the sun will come out sometime. On the last day of their relationship, Semi had gotten sick with the flu and was running a high fever, so Defne tells him to get up and go to the hospital with her, but he refuses and tells her to go to work instead. Defne tells him she can't leave him while he is in this condition, and calls a cab to take him to the hospital. Meanwhile, Simi goes to the bathroom and sleeps in the bathtub. He doesn't open the door, although she repeatedly asks him to do so. Fed up with his childish behavior, Defne leaves the house. After 6 years in a relationship, Defne couldn't put up with his unpredictable behavior, which was fun at the beginning, and broke up with him. After the breakup, Simi's life was turned upside down. He repeatedly tries to call Defne, but she couldn't be reached. Simi gets angry and breaks his phone, throwing it against the wall. Then, he goes to the bar where he first meets Defne, where he meets his friends Beryl and Nazim, who haven't seen him for a long time. The next day, when he gets back from his workout at the gym, his landlord knocks on his door and tells him that he called Defne about the upcoming rent increase, but she has informed him about their breakup. Semi couldn't believe she was telling everyone, although he had barely gotten the hang of it. He goes back to bed feeling depressed. Semi arrives at work the next day, and Ozge is surprised to see him since he has not been in the office for a long time. She tells him that Cheda, who is hard on everyone except him, has been very on edge. While he was out for a smoke break with Ozge, who was complaining about not being able to play the guitar, Semi got a text from Defne saying she was taking her things. Ozge asks if they are breaking up, but he denies it. Semi goes to Hande, a real estate agent he drunkenly called about finding him a new home. She offers to help him find a new place, and he accepts. When he saw a man with cotton candy outside, he thought about Defne. At night, Nazim comes to visit him, and they play a video game together. Semi tells him about Defne taking her stuff. He couldn't believe how quickly she decided to end things out of the blue. He tells Semi that he will get past it in time. On the coming day, Semi tries to move past Defne and changes his hair. After visiting Beryl, he goes to the office and attends a meeting. He couldn't focus, he was drawing pictures, while everyone was trying to come up with a new idea. Cheda has a soft spot for Semi because of his mother, so she doesn't say anything. That night, Semi visits Defne's uncle, who is hosting an event, and tries to find out why Defne broke up with him. He doesn't give him a clear answer, except to tell him his suspicion. Her uncle tells him not to linger on it, and Semi tries to pretend saying he is moving on. Then Cheda comes up to him and tells him she has found a new client. She asks Semi about the breakup, and he tells her he is fine. Cheda gives him the new client's project. After mentioning how important this project is, she warns him about his recent behavior and tells him to be serious. Semi goes home and gets to work. When he keeps getting distracted, he removes the pictures of Defne from the wall and continues. He submits his progress to Cheda the next day, and she doesn't like his work, but she gives him a chance to keep working on it. Then, he asks for an advance to pay his rent, and she allows it. He gets back to his desk, but can't think of anything, so he begs Ozge for her help, promising to bring pizza and wine. Then, Semi gets a call from his mom about his half-brother, whom he forgot to pick up his half-brother from the airport. After he picks him up, Semi also finds out from him that Defne has deleted all their pictures from her profile. After staying up late to prepare with Ozge at night, Semi makes a careless presentation the next morning. Cheda was very disappointed in him because she was very encouraging and understanding of his problems. Back from his disaster of a presentation, Semi makes a drawing on his wall and decides to move out of his place. He goes to his landlord and signs the eviction agreement. He spends the rest of his night watching dirty videos. The following day, Semi goes to meet with Hande, who has found him a new place. He likes the new place and starts to flirt with her. He kisses and starts to be intimate, but he can't go through with it. After cooling down, he tells her he wants to rent the place, and she tells him about the specifics. He tried asking her out, but she was not sure about pursuing a relationship with a client. Semi gets news about Defne moving to Germany from another person at the gym. Angry about it, he goes home and burns the tattoo on his arm, which reminds him of her. He tries to bury himself in work, but gets a voice message from Nazim about a party saying Defne is also there. He arrives at the party and finds Ozge and Nazim. Then, he finds out that Nazim was lying, and he just wanted to get him out of the house. Semi gets angry at his friend, who tells him it is time to move. Then he takes a seat and starts to drink. Semi goes back and gets in a fight with Nazim when his half-brother shows up at the party with drugs in his hand. Semi partied all night and woke up at home, along with Ozge, who spent the night at his house. She opens the door and meets Defne, who was also at the party last night. She came back to give Seme his phone back. As soon as he hears the voice of Defne at the door, he goes running up to her and asks her about her move to Germany. She answers saying she is going next week. He asks her further, but she tells him he is not entitled to ask her. Seth asks her if they are over. She tells him they talked about it yesterday, but Seme doesn't remember because he was drunk. When he keeps persisting, she calls him out for his selfish nature and tells him his arrogant nature was the reason for their breakup. Later that night, Seme called his mother. He tearfully admits that he is irresponsible like his father, who left his family at a young age. She consoles him, and he finally decides to move on from Defne. In the coming days, Seme completes the project, moves into his new house, and gets himself a dog. He shows up for Ozgi and Beryl, helping them achieve their drinks. At the end of the movie, Seme, who was walking his dog, meets Defne after a long time, and they amicably part ways after having a good conversation.